We now come to the Shacharit service, the morning service. This is when we start to pray, but before we do that, we also do a couple of things that God asked us to do. First, we have to complete the blessing that ends the warm-up exercises. We're on page 12. Normally, on Shabbat, we will start singing using the melody for Shabbat, for Shacharit, with the words Shochinad, and we do that in junior congregation every week. On a holiday, we would start a little bit earlier with Ha'el B'Ta'atzumot, which does not show up on this page, but that's where we would start on a holiday. But today is very different. Today we recognize that God is the king or ruler of all of the universes. And with that in mind, we have to remember that God is referred to as HaMelech, the king, the ruler. Page 12. HaMelech Yoshev al Kisei Ram V'Nisa Shochenad Maram V'Kadosh Shemo V'Chatuv Rananu Tzadikim Baranai Lashrim Nava Tehila. Notice the nusach has changed. We've become a lot more serious. We're no longer getting ready. We're no longer warming up. We are actually engaged in a proper function now. Let's read together in the English in the middle of page 12. You are our majestic, unchanging ruler. It is written in Psalms that the righteous rejoice in feeling God's closeness. It is fitting that they praise you. B'fi sharim titramam, uvdivrei tzadikim titbarach, uvashan chasidim titkadash, uvkerev kedoshim tithalal. We continue reading. You are honored by the mouth of the upright. You are blessed by the words of the righteous. You are declared holy by the tongue of the faithful. You are praised in the hearts of good and kind people. We now continue with the blessing. Let's read together on page 13 in the middle. In every generation, your people Israel gathers to sing your praises, adding songs to those written by King David, your dedicated servant. And at this point, we do stand up. Yishtabach Shimcha Lad Malkeinu. We continue at the bottom of page 13. May you be praised forever with songs that tell of your strength, glory, and holiness. We look to you for blessing as we are offering you thanksgiving. Praised are you, Adonai, our ruler and doer of wonders, who delights in our songs. And at this point, we get to the first pause in the service. It's the break from the beginning to the next part. It's called the Chatzi Kaddish. There are actually several different Kaddishes, but they all play a role of telling us when we go from one part to the other. We're going from part 1 to part 2 formally now. And in keeping with everything else, we'll be doing it according to the melody, the nusach that is used. Page 14. Yikadal v'yikadal shemei rabban. You're supposed to respond here. Amen. Ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chaychon v'yomechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael b'galav v'zman karib v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabban mevarach ve'alam lo me'omayah Yitbarach v'yishtabach, Yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh, v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha berichu, le'ela, le'ela, mikol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram b'alma v'yimru, amen. We now come on page 15, and we're still standing, to the formal call to prayer, which starts the Shacharit service and the beginning the beginning of our very next section, known as the Shema section. For this, I'm having to turn around. Baruchu et Adonai Hamvarach, and we all sing together. Baruch Adonai Hamivarach Le'olam Va'ed. And we continue in both Hebrew and then in English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or v'arei choshech, oseh shalom u'varei et hakol. Praised are you, Adonai, source of all blessing, who forms light and darkness, who makes peace and creates all things. You may have a seat. And we're now on page 16. Actually, we're not on page 16. You see, it's Shabbat. And we skipped that page because that's a weekdays page. Instead, we're on page 17. This is an addition for Shabbat, but we take out the paragraphs before. What we're going to do is at the bottom of page 17, let's read together. God, the creator of all, is praised by every soul. God's greatness and essence enter the world as wisdom, announces the holy presence. Your praises we laud, for we are so awed by sun, moon, and stars that we view from afar. Created by you skillfully with energy and beauty. Full of splendor they shine, doing what is assigned. To them by their Maker, they rejoice so proud, singing praises aloud of the Holy One, the Creator. And we're now on page 18. El Adon Akol Hamasim Baruch V'Varach B'fi Kol Neshama Gadlu V'Tuva Malei Olam Da'ad U'Tvuna Sovavimoto Hamid Gael Achayot HaKadosh V'Nedar B'Chavod Al HaMechava Zechut U'Mishor Lifnei Chiso Chesed V'Rachamim Lifnei Chevodo. We'll stop there. But that is only done on Shabbat. We sing that particular paragraph, that song, every week. The melody might change, but that's pretty much what we have. We now come to the end of the first blessing in the Shacharit service, the first blessing before we say the Shema, on page 19. Let's read first in the Hebrew and then in the English. Or chadash shal Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkechu lanu mehera le'aro, Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer hamiarot. God who continues to create, cause a new light to shine on Zion. May this light help us to see a path to you. Praised are you, creator of lights. And we continue now in the Torah that's drawn for you at the bottom of page 19. Great is your love, Adonai, and deep is your tenderness. As you taught our ancestors, teach us your words of Torah. Let our eyes read with understanding, and let us feel in our hearts loyalty and love for you and your ways. May we listen to its words and lovingly follow its teachings. May honoring your Torah bring us honor. We're now on page 20. And normally, I instruct everyone who's wearing a talit to gather their tzitzit, but I'm the only one wearing that. If you happen to be wearing one at home, that's terrific. You can gather your tzitzit. If not, don't worry too much about it. We're at the bottom, in the middle of page 20. Safely gather our people from the four corners of the earth and bring us back to our ancient homeland. Draw us close to you so that we can feel united as we proclaim your oneness. Praised are you, Adonai, who has lovingly chosen the people Israel. V'havienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz, v'tolichenu k'miyot li'artzeinu, ki el poel Yeshuat atah, uvanu v'charta mikolam v'lashon, v'karavtanu l'shimcha gadol sela b'yamed, l'dot l'cha yachecha b'yahava, Baruch atah Adonai, Habocher b'yamar Yisrael, b'yahava. And you say, we're on page 22. And as usual, when you come to page 22, we have to cover our eyes to say just the first line. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem We're on page 23. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol mehodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'leptecha b'derech v'shachbecha v'kumecha v'kshartam liot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha v'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha v'visharecha. We're now on page 24 as we continue with the middle paragraph of the Shema, middle of the page in the English. If you sincerely follow my commandments, then it will favor your land with rain at the proper season. Then you will have a full harvest of grain, wine, and oil, and there will be grass in the fields for your cattle. You will eat and be satisfied. But if you turn from God's ways, then there will be no rain, and the earth will not bring forth its produce. In the end, you will even disappear from the good land which Adonai has given you. Page 25. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem v'asu lehem tzitzit al kanfei bigdeihem l'darotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf b'til techelet v'haya lechem l'tzitzit v'ritem oto Uzchartem ekol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem leman tizkiru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem mi'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen. Stop it.